Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hi, guys.
Welcome, everybody in internet land or on your TV or wherever you're watching or listening to us. They could just be listening to us right now. Welcome to GEEKING POETIC PODCAST channel. As you can see, if you're watching us, we have our little names back below us. You didn't have that last week.
I didn't. You didn't put it in there for me, so
I'm sorry.
I was winging it over here.
Yeah, I left you high and dry.
You sure did. You guys all did. You all left me.
I know. If you didn't see or hear again last week, Megan here was all on her own.
I did. I held it down.
You did. You did a great job, I thought.
Thank you.
Anyway, yeah, I'm one of your hosts, Larry Roberts. As I said, this is
I'm Megan Guest.
Yeah, this is she is the forever changeling.
I'm your queen.
Yeah, she is. She is the nerd queen. You're not the Borg queen.
Okay.
That's Girardi doing that. Hey, Chuck, what's going on? So, yeah, what are we here to talk about?
We are here to talk about Season 3 Picard, Episode 10, the season and series finale.
Yeah, man. Wow. You believe we've been doing this for 10 weeks already?
That flew by.
It
really did.
Yeah, it really did go by quick. Because it was an exciting show. Not without its problems.
Of course.
In my opinion. Your opinion might be a little bit different from mine.
I don't think I'm as harsh as you are.
Yeah, might not be.
So.
Okay. Well, with that, we always start every episode. First of all, I get elbowed if I don't warn everybody. She just likes to have an excuse to hit me and beat up on me. But if I don't let everybody know that if you're listening or watching and you're not already familiar with what has happened in episode 10 and back, be forewarned because...
Spoilers. We are going to talk about everything. Everything is on the table.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss it in detail. We're going to talk about the entire series, not just today.
Yeah.
This last episode, but all of it. So if you haven't watched everything, you don't want to be spoiled, check out now, go watch it, and then come back.
Right, exactly.
All right, you've been forewarned.
Yeah.
All right.
So, again, as we've done every episode, and for the last time, at least on this topic, I like to start off by asking you, Megan, what was your overall impression of episode 10?
Overall, I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah, I know we still have a bunch of questions and stuff like that, but as I was watching it, I was like, I don't care. I am loving what I'm seeing in front of me. I'm taking it as is, face value, and I am loving every second of it.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I didn't love it. I liked it a lot.
Okay.
There were things about it that I very much loved. And then there was other things that I was disappointed in.
Okay.
I'm not one of those people, as I've tried to talk about before. Like we try really hard on this show to be positive about stuff. I'm not one of those people I'm not one of these toxic fanboys that just constantly wants to complain about all of these things. I'm so grateful that we got this in the first place. It is really exciting that we got essentially one last season of Star Trek The Next Generation. We never thought
we got our final
happen.
Great movie.
Yes, exactly.
I wouldn't call it season.
Yeah.
I would call it more the movie.
Yeah, it's like a weird amalgamation of the two, really.
Yeah.
There was a lot of elements of it that felt like, we talked about this in past episodes, it felt more like one of the movies, but just drawn out as a season, a mini season at least.
Yeah.
But, I don't want to seem like I'm being too harsh and negative, because overall, the good outweighs the bad for me.
I agree.
So I really enjoyed it. But what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you and if it's okay with everybody at home, if it's not, oh, well, too bad, because that's what I'm going to do. I am going to try to be a little more brief because, I usually get really detailed when we talk about every scene and every bit of dialogue, and it drags out really long. And I think that for anybody that's hoping this is going to be a short episode, like, oh, well, maybe this one. No, it's going to be long because it's the last one. And because it's the last one, I just want to I just want to make sure that we leave ourselves enough time to, because I'm more kind of interested in talking about the overarching story of the entire season.
Okay.
And the good and bad and everything. And of Picard as a TV show for 3 seasons now. I'd like to weigh up some thoughts and feelings I have about it and everything. But first things first, excuse me, I'm all swallowy and stuff. Yeah.
Emotional right now?
Yeah.
You're going to be okay over there?
Yeah, that's it. First off, yeah, let's just get into the episode.
Do a little recap.
Yeah, exactly. So we left off. Well, you're the one that left us off with they were approaching. They were going after to find.
They were going after the defenses of Earth.
Yeah,
to destroy it all.
Right, and so our heroes are trying to go after the Borg. To
stop it.
Hopefully, stop
Save
them
the day
and everything. So they're heading towards Jupiter.
Yeah, they discovered there's a Borg signal or something coming from Jupiter. It's like, okay, that's where we need to go then.
Right. So as they're getting there, they end up getting like this message, this distress kind of message that's coming through from the Federation president, and this is our first like big. A lot of the episodes in the past, we've had like pretty exciting things start off the episode, like when we had the one episode where we got to see Tuvok, who turned out to be a changeling. You know, we've had a couple of like cool little surprises and everything, and this is our first kind of big like ooh neat surprise that they threw in here, because the Federation president is a person named Anton Chekhov, which is pretty cool for a couple of reasons. Because one, it is supposed to be the son of Chekhov from the original series.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And what they also did was they had Walter Koenig, who we've met.
Yes, he's super cool.
He is super cool. We actually got to even talk to him about the podcast and stuff for a while. He asked us. We didn't.
Yeah, he's like, oh, that's really interesting. I'm thinking about doing one. And he asked us all sorts of questions. It was very awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. He was questioning us about things about doing the podcast and everything. So that was, man, super, super cool and everything. So yeah, we got to meet Walter, and he was great. So it was really exciting getting to hear him once more.
Yeah,
on Trek, playing the voice of his son. And I also thought it was really cool because people were like, Anton Chekhov, where did that come from? Well, Anton was the first name of the actor who played Chekhov in the new Star Trek. That who sadly passed away.
Yes.
So it was like
a great nod all the way around.
Beautiful tribute to the character and to the actors who portrayed Chekhov and everything. Huge thumbs up there.
Yeah,
that's
2 thumbs up. That's a great way to start this.
Exactly. I was like,
I'm in. I'm loving it already.
Yeah, that's getting us off on the right foot. But anyway, so the president is sending out word to all of the people out there who maybe have not yet been assimilated and everything, and saying like, do not approach Earth, like
we're screwed.
Yeah.
They infected all our young ones.
They've infected all the young ones and everything and stuff, but he's also trying to be like a true president, a true leader, saying, like, it's not, hope is not lost. Like there are always possibilities, he mentions, which is really cool because that's a throwback to a Spock line and everything. So there's still, man, any chance they got to throw some fan service Easter eggs in there, like they really did.
Okay, yeah.
But overall, I felt like they did it in a good, tasteful way. It a couple times it was a little
much, yeah.
Yeah, but
I still loved it.
But something like this, it was just like, oh, that's really cool, because it's cool to think that that's something that Chekhov would have heard Spock say, of course, and so Chekhov would have handed that down to his son, and it was like a lesson. Beautiful. But Picard, of course, and his crew are like, well, we're not gonna not go there. We got to do this and everything, because his Data says is like, we're the cavalry. We've got to do this. So they come up with a plan of what they can do here, and it's at the onset, it doesn't seem like the greatest because it's like, oh, here we go. Last episode we had Jack running towards
The Borg.
the Borg and everything. So now it's like, well,
And now our crew's heading there.
right, yeah. So the plan is we got to go to Jupiter. We got to get on the Borg vessel, and we've got to shut down this beacon they have that's sending out the signal via Jack and his powers and everything, and we've got to shut that down so that we can cut off all these Borg controlled people and stuff, and then hopefully in the process also rescue Jack if they can.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah, which it was not looking good.
No, I got really worried when Picard was like, at all cost. I was like, ooh.
Right, exactly.
I mean, the expensive Jack?
Well, and
That's what I took it at first. I was like, oh.
and the
Beverly's like, I don't have a choice now.
right, yeah. Beverly was not looking real thrilled about this, but it's like, well, Bev,
We're out of options here.
Yeah,
we got to do what we got to do.
Don't even get me started on Beverly. Still, I got more things.
We got a ways to go.
Yeah, I've still got more things that I got to say about Beverly, but so anyway, so the thing is like for Picard though, I mean, this is just very this is very personal, and for obvious reasons, he's just fed up. He's like, for what, like how long's it been?
35 years.
Yeah, at least.
He's like, you know what? 35 years in the making. I'm done. It ends tonight.
Yeah,
ooh.
Exactly. And now it's bad enough you mess with me. Now you mess with my kid, who I never knew about because Beverly was an asshole and
anyway.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's talking to his crew about it and everything, and he realizes like this is going to probably be my last stand. Picard is kind of going into this being like, without flat out saying it, his whole demeanor is he's going into this like,
this is it for me.
This might be it for me.
Yeah.
And if it means, because he's got ideas in his head of what he might end up having to do in order to pull off what he's got to pull off, and he knows that like if I got to do this, it's not good, and everybody kind of realizes it, and even Data just kind of, who's all like super, just a bag of emotions and everything, because it's like somebody this over the hill, at least middle-aged man that's having to deal with emotions and life and stuff in general, and he's just like, I hate them.
And that was the first cute moment.
Yeah. Not a lot of them until later in this episode and everything, but yeah, so that was pretty cool. But they end up deciding that the way they're going to have to do this is they're going to have to break up into different teams and stuff, because like Data even like offers like, I'll do it.
He's like, no, I want to go, and they're like, no, Data, you have to stay. He's like a puppy. Stay, Data, stay.
Right. So they end up deciding that the away team that's going to go onto the Borg cube is going to be Picard, Worf, and Riker. So kind of
Worf makes a threesome.
That was great when Worf was like, we can have a threesome. And Will was
like, do you even hear yourself? What is wrong with you? I love Worf.
Yeah, I love the Worf and Riker
dynamic whole episode
in this whole season. Yeah. It's they really ran with it and made it great and everything. And of course, Beverly's kind of freaking out because she's reacting. You could see that she's thinking like, man, I might lose my son, and I'm gonna lose, Jean-Luc and all of them,
my
like
other family, and
it's not looking good. So they decide to do that, and then it means that Geordi is going to helm the ship,
take control. Yeah, I loved Deanna's and Riker's little line of sight they did.
Yeah,
that was all they needed to say, just in eyes.
Yeah,
it was really great.
Right, that there was just no.
That was like their goodbye.
Right. Yeah, because Deanna's just like looking
like, this is it,
despondent about the whole thing and stuff. Yeah, so that whole scene is really something, and there's some more of things like that coming up too, actually. And with the Dream Team going off, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself because they kind of they sort of
needs to go back and forth. Yeah.
yeah there's a whole thing where they talk about what they mean to each other, but we'll get to that in a minute. However, meanwhile, you ask, okay, so what's going on with Seven and Rafi and everything? Because all these young ones have been yeah, three people are commenting in the chat. Threesome was hilarious. Threesome. Yeah,
Mom, you got to watch it.
Yeah, you got to watch it. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's just Worf continuing on with his not understanding what certain things mean.
Yeah.
When he said
Not what he meant. He just meant he was help them out on their little adventure.
And like Javier said, is hilarious. Javier says, definitely had me worried that someone might die besides Picard. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about that.
Yeah.
There was that one
yeah,
scene.
when Picard's, what did he even say now? He said, yeah, it was at all cost. I was like, we got to finish this at all cost. And him and Beverly and Worf all kind of looked down. I was like, that's our three. Those are the three going to die.
Yeah.
And I just knew it the whole time. I really thought we were going to lose so many.
Yeah, well, this show was real big on a lot of misdirection with things like that, and I'll get into that later, unfortunately. But anyway, so Seven and Rafi, they want to take the Titan. They want to take back the Titan.
Yeah, they were busy being badasses, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, they were kicking some serious ass and everything, and it come to find out that they had their own form of transport that would allow them to not use the transporter, basically, right?
So,
how did that?
So, I mean, it looked to me that on their guns, instead of like stunning or shooting, killing them and stuff, shoot to kill,
right?
They put on like these transponders that it instead of killing them, it put them in the transporter,
right?
And then it locked them in the transporter room.
Right. That's what you said it much better than I was able to say. Yes, exactly. So they're going through because they don't want to kill these people,
right? Because it's not their fault.
Right.
They are the way they are.
Right. And they come to find out. You do come to find out that it's like all the people that have been like assimilated or changelinged and stuff like that are not all.
They're not all dead.
Yeah.
They're still there.
They're just replaced.
Yes.
They're all Invasion of the Body Snatchered and stuff and everything. So so they end up playing like a pretty crucial role and everything in what's going to happen, because they're going to then take the Titan and try to do this sort of like covert, like attack run thing.
Yeah, distract the rest of the fleet, basically.
Right, exactly.
I thought that was awesome. They used the
cloaking device, which is awesome.
So then they couldn't see them to keep them in the fleet formation. And then they like do a dive attack.
Right.
Like a bird of prey or something like that.
Right, exactly.
And get shot at. And
yeah.
But just to divert them, because they saw Picard, the Enterprise, they saw what they were doing over there. I was like, oh, they're trying to take down the Borg.
Right.
We got to divert attention as long as we possibly can.
Right, which they were really surprised to see Enterprise D.
Yeah, they're like, what? What?
Like, where did that come from?
How's there even enough of that to be?
Exactly, which was great.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're off like doing that and trying to help with the space station that's defending Earth and all that business and everything. Meanwhile, our threesome goes down to the cube and everything, and they're finding like a bunch of like rotted
it's
Borg
very
drones.
Quiet.
Yeah,
I did not expect that.
Right, they're going into this hive that's just going to swarm them and everything, and it's not. There's all these like dead Borg drones and stuff going on, and they realize like, all right, we're going to need to like split up here, and Picard's going to go and try to find Jack. And he's sending the other two on to like figure out, see if they can suss out what else to how to take things down. They got to find the
beacon.
The beacon. I could not think of the word. The freaking beacon. Yeah, they were trying to find the beacon, and Picard starts talking to them, and he's kind of
saying his farewells to them.
Yeah,
like this is it. This is where we got to part ways.
And you really got the impression, from this, just the way they were doing it. And it's really well done. With Picard trying to explain to Will, like, how much he meant to him as his number one and all this kind of stuff. And
Will's like, I know.
Right.
You don't have to say it. I know.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
off the hook.
You know that I know. Yeah, always. And Worf is, being Worf and talking about like, Klingons don't know the meaning of the word defeat and farewell and all this kind of stuff, just do what you got to do, your duty and all that stuff. And it's a really cool scene. And again, it was like, oh man, these guys are all
they're not going to make it. We're not going to make it. This is it. I'm watching the end right here.
Yeah, like people are commenting, Javier and stuff commenting. That moment was tears. Exactly. There's a lot of that in this episode.
Gosh.
There is a lot of that in this episode.
This might be too soon to be talking about it, honestly.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I might start crying in the middle.
I had the benefit of watching this last night when it premiered. You only
literally just watched it. Yeah.
And everything. So anyway, so they go their separate ways. When Picard does find Jack, it's like, oh shit, like this is even worse than he'd hoped. He thought maybe Jack was still more easily reachable, but now he looks like, oh no, he's Borg. Yeah, he's in the
fully Borgified
suit. Yeah, he's in the full suit, looking all
he's
like
got his eyepiece.
Like he's looking like Locutus and everything, and he's standing there sending out the mantra, the message to all the people, assimilating them through their beacon stuff and everything. And Jean-Luc's like, oh man, this is no good. And then we come to find out that the Borg Queen is there.
Right there. She's looming.
Yeah.
Like a creeper she is.
Yeah,
she's so creepy.
She is. She's
creepy. Even grosser than I ever before.
Yeah. And exactly. Like somebody had mentioned that it was like, the Borg and her, she's always been like an H.R. Giger kind of like style, like painting kind of thing. Like this is the Gigeriest that she's ever been, that the Borg have ever been. That look like alien, like all that kind of stuff. It's cool that Alice Krige got to do the voice for it and everything. That was really cool to have the actual Queen. Yeah, the actual Borg Queen voice in there and everything. And she's taunting Picard, calling him Locutus, welcoming him home, and all this stuff. And she kind of informs him that old school Borg assimilation is not how it goes now. Like that's the past. The new goal is evolving. It's needing to have the Borg be a more evolved version of them, right?
Right. There's no more simulation. We're evolving. Yeah, and that's what Javier just said.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a clever way to have them change and grow as a species.
Exactly. And I'm going to have a lot of commentary about my overall thoughts about this, but there's a lot of things in this episode that, for example, that I guess they wanted to leave that as like a, surprise at the end kind of thing, like detail to, but some of this stuff is like, gosh, I kind of wish we would have had
more of it.
Right. I kind of wish we would have had a little bit more knowledge of this to be like working towards, and so we had more time to
absorb it.
Yeah. That's probably assimilate it. Yeah.
Yeah. Assimilate it. Evolve with it, maybe.
Yeah. We're such nerds. But yeah, I wish we would have had more time to really think about it, and you know what I mean? And for them and just to see more, have more time to live with it and see its dire consequences of what that could mean, rather than having that thrown at us at the very end, man. It's kind of a bummer because it, like Javier says, it was very clever. That was cool. I don't have a problem with it. I'm just like, oh, okay, we're just
want more of it now.
Yeah, we're just
now. That I know, I want more.
Right, just now.
But
so,
anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Back to our show.
This is what they're doing. This is and now, all thanks to, this is why they needed Jack, because of what he's able to do with his abilities and stuff. So now Starfleet has all these hybrids basically walking around. So they're like human Borg hybrids and stuff. And that's like what Seven and Rafi are dealing with on the Titan and everything, because Sydney and all of them are
they're all the hybrids.
They're all hybrided
all the young
up.
ones.
Right. So this leads to man, there's all kinds of like really cool like fight scenes and things that go on here. There's just like a bunch of battle. We see them like trying to, because again, there's all these young Borg hybrids trying to fight and take over, and we see Seven and Raffi and them like trying to take them down. We see that there's another part that I loved was the whole thing on Enterprise D where they're trying to figure out how they can get in there with the ship.
Yes.
And everything, and they're it's another one of these. I hate to be this way, but there's so many like little like parallels to Star Wars that have been going on.
Oh yeah,
this
absolutely,
season.
Absolutely. It's like the Millennium Falcon. In this one.
Trying to navigate. Sir, the odds of navigating successfully through an asteroid field are 3,940 to 1.
Dave's like, I can do it.
Yeah, never tell me the odds, And yeah, they're all, Data's like, I just trust my gut. And they're like, whoa.
Okay, wait a minute. I don't know about this.
They're like, yeah, I don't know about this, Data.
We're in dire straits, but I don't know about this.
Yeah,
I don't think we can do this. So.
Exactly. And he's just like, no. I'm telling you, like, just trust me. And so
like, all right, fine.
He does it. Yeah, he flies in there and everything, because more importantly is that Deanna, they lose contact with the trio, right? I mean,
not yet.
It isn't yet that they lose contact?
Because Will and Worf find the beacon in the middle, and they get attacked by all these Borg that aren't dead yet.
Right.
And there's that awesome fight scene there.
Right.
Worf gets shot a few times.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I was like, oh no, this is it for Worf.
Right.
Oh, here we go. They're all going to start dying.
Yep.
And then... like Will, they're like down. He's like, "Oh my God, Worf, are you okay? Are you okay?" He's like, "The sword." And Will picks up. He's like, "Oh my God, this is so heavy."
That was funny. And the best part about it is not only he's like, "Shit, this is so heavy." He goes to pick up the sword, and then he grabs the hilt and realizes there's a phaser.
Yeah, he's like, he grabbed the handle and he takes it out. He's like, "Dude, fucking seriously, why have you been using the sword?" I was like, "Swords are cool."
Yeah, the whole idea that this whole time he had a phaser there, and he's like, "Why aren't you using the phaser?" And he's like, "The sword's way cooler."
Yeah, it's way cooler. So, but basically they send back to the D that the beacon's in the middle of this Borg ship. There's no way they could destroy it from the outside. That's why Data has to maneuver his way into it.
Yes, exactly.
And so they see it, and they're like, "Okay, shoot it." And they're like, "No, wait. Did you see that? It's like protected by something. If they blow it up that way, it's going to blow up the entire Borg ship." So she's telling Will and Worf that, we got to beam you aboard now. And they're like, "Nope, we're not leaving Picard."
Right.
He's like, you got 1 minute to get off this ship and you're toast.
Yeah.
Like,
here we go.
Here we
once
go again.
We're like, oh, here we go. And then, Riker is like saying, "I love you, Imzadi," and all this stuff, like sending it out, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
They're
that was very poignant.
Prepare yourself.
That's when they went and they found Picard, and they catch him plugging in.
Well,
and like, "Oh my God, no."
I was just going to say, so what it leads to is that Picard realizes that the only way he's going to get through to Jack is that he's going to have to plug into the Borg collective.
Yeah, that's heavy.
Yeah, and
as much as it fucked with him, that's heavy.
Right, and like I said, I think that was something that Picard had in his head the whole time, that like, I may have to do this. Like,
and I may not come back from it.
I may have to go and be like, revisit my Locutusness, and everything in order to do that. And so he plugs in and it looks grim. However, it works. He gets in there and he is able to communicate with Jack. Now, Jack is, at first he's sitting there saying, "No, this is
perfect. I fit here. This is where I've always belonged. I'm not leaving.
I was destined to be this." And Picard's trying to explain to him, like, like, no, you know, you may think that, you feel that, but it's a lie.
Not reality. Yeah.
It's not reality. You're being fed, you know, it's almost like being on drugs or something and it making you feel like everything's wonderful. And it's like, no, it's not. You're being fooled into thinking that. It's kind of like that. So he's doing that, and Picard is basically starts finally, because they've never even really had an opportunity, you know, but Picard starts basically getting more emotional and expressing like his emotions and explaining to Jack that part of like when he became assimilated, and he thought that once too, you know, that this was beautiful, and you know, because I'd always felt like an outsider, and I'd always felt like I didn't belong really, and what I came to find out was that I do, and I'm not, and the in fact there was just a void in my life, and the void was filled by you.
Right.
Once I found out that I had you, that has changed me and makes me realize that was the part of the puzzle that was always missing in my life. And he says, yeah, you were the part of me that I never knew was missing.
Yeah.
And so with that ends up basically being the key that like wakes up.
Yeah, I thought
the real Jack, you know what I mean?
I thought that was sweet when Picard's like, all right, I can't make you go with me, then I'll stay here with you till the end.
Right.
And Jack was like, kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And then that
right.
gave Picard the opening.
Right, because Captain America was there with Bucky, and he's like, I'm with you to the end, buddy, and everything. It's like, because everything just feels better. I'm like, I'm not sure. I know I'm being so sour grapes about that, but I just can't help it. It's like I watch this, and I'm just like,
if it works, it
that's
works.
Yeah, that's Marvel. That's Star Wars. That's a throwback to Star Trek, but it's fine. It works. It makes sense. In the context of the story and everything, and it did work. So with that, Jack then, because that was the other thing we should emphasize too, is that when Picard first finds Jack, and when he first is trying to save Jack, he's trying to just unplug Jack, and the Borg Queen lets him know, like, you do that, and he's gone.
And
like
he has to want to come out of it.
Right, exactly. Again, kind of like any kind of addiction. It's like, you know, you can't, no matter how much you love them, they have to want to detach themselves from that. It's an interesting allegory there, you know. And with Picard's love and support and showing him that he is loved and not alone, Jack snaps out of it, and he starts detaching himself and everything. Looks over and sees his dad like freaking out because he's plugged into everything.
He's like, I can't get it undone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Javier points out Titanic. I'll never let you go, Jack.
Oh, fucking Rose. Stop hogging the door.
Yeah. And that's funny though. Anyway, so he does that, and he unplugs Picard and everything, and with that, then it means they're able to it starts the Borg cube, right? That they're
well, they were already blowing it up because Geordi already gave the thing. It's like, okay, we're out of time. Let's just blow it up. And 7 of them, the fleets found them.
Right, yeah. The space station's fallen, you know, and everything,
gone,
and they're targeting all the major cities.
And all them. They like destroyed their shield. Their oh my gosh, why can't I think tonight? They're a cloaking device,
right.
So now the fleet can see them, and like they're like all turned on. They're like, and they were all like, oh, this is it. Like, oh my gosh, we're gonna lose all these guys now.
That was super cool too, man. When they did that scene with all those Federation ships
like
that were
turning.
I was like,
oh,
turning towards the Titan and all that stuff. Like, and I mean, just like dozens and dozens of ships. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah,
like,
that's not good.
That's not good.
But
yeah.
So the ship's already starting to blow up, and the Borg Queen's like, no, not that. And like you said, Will was saying bye to Deanna,
right?
And that he and their boy will be waiting for her,
right? And at that point, that's when Deanna
was like, I know how to find them.
Right. She's able to figure it out.
She like jumps into action. I thought that was nice.
That was super cool. Yeah,
that
Deanna
cool.
just jumped in and was like, I'm flying this fucker. Like, she's like, and they go in there. And yeah, because now they know she's able to use her powers to be able to pinpoint where they are.
Exactly.
And everything. Yeah. The Borg Queen and all that. Yeah. So as the Borg cube is like blowing up and everything, I also liked how Enterprise D kind of went, did that.
I love that. It's like, oh my God, that is so cool. It's like right there.
They did that big wheel like thing, like when you would when you ride on a big wheel and you turn the wheel and you just kind of do that half spin.
You drifted
and everything. Yeah, you drift.
She drifted it.
Yeah.
She totally drifted that.
She
That's
did.
awesome.
She just goes right over them as this Borg cube is blowing up. She's able to beam the three of them. Well, the four of them now with Jack. She's able to beam them back on, and then we get Darth Vader yelling, "No!" It's not Darth Vader. It's the Borg Queen. But again, I can't help but as soon as I saw that, as soon as she did that with the no, I was like, oh, really? We're doing the no scene.
She's just as gnarly as Darth Vader, so.
Yeah. Oh. She's like a cross between Darth Vader and Medusa from Clash of the Titans or something, But anyway, so we got that. And it just, maybe some people wouldn't react this way. For me, when I saw that scene of her doing the no, I kind of, I sort of laughed. It took me out of the moment a little bit. I was like, they should, don't they know better that, they got to know that we're going to laugh at that,
They probably did it on purpose.
I think they might have. With as much homage giving as they give on this show and all the great humor and tongue-in-cheek stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, yeah, let's do something like that. Like, oh, that's kind of funny. But anyway, so the Borg cube blows up. And
then that starts releasing.
Right. Yeah.
So
then we see Sydney and all of them. We see the little
just
Borg
as they
vines.
come on the bridge.
Yeah. Talk about everything
timing.
We did the whole by the skin of our ass thing. Literally. That not only are all these ships turning towards our heroes and stuff, but then Sydney and all the other infected crew have now just got on the bridge. They're ready to shoot at Raffi and Seven, and just in time, the control is let go of them and everything, and they're all looking at each other like, oh my God, what are we doing? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so he's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And Seven goes and hugs her. That's when I lost it. I started crying. I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Sydney wanted her to like her.
There's a lot of
hugging.
A lot of hugging that goes on in this one from characters you're not used to seeing hug and everything. We got, hang on, we've got a question. It says, here's a question. What happened to the other Borg Queen? From you're talking about Jurati.
Fucking Jurati.
Oh, yeah, I like Jurati. You don't like Jurati. That's a really good question, man. Yeah, that's going to lead to something we're going to talk about in a few minutes, because that's one of the issues. Like I started at the beginning of this episode, I started when I said that I have some issues with this season and this final episode. We will get into that because I'll be curious to see what you at home have to say about this and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, where did we leave off? Oh, so it's kind of like a happy ending sort of thing, and Will and Troy are hugging. Worf immediately sits down in his chair, and he's so tired and old he falls asleep.
He starts snoring.
Which
I love Worf
kind
so
of
much.
Silly, but
I loved it.
Of course you did.
I loved it. I started laughing.
That is so your kind of humor.
It is.
So yeah. So then that's it, and then, so then I think it's supposed to be 1 year later, right? Don't they do some kind of?
Yeah, they do. Worf goes and sees Raffi, and he basically leaked it to her family.
Right. Well,
I don't think that's a year later. I think that's immediately. Yeah, because he's like.
Was it supposed to be that soon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, part of it was immediate, and then part of it was a year later.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that part was more immediate. I thought that was later.
He's like,
yeah,
I want to meet my granddaughter. And
right.
So that kind of tied up that family issue from the very beginning.
Well,
so that was great.
Hang on. So you're jumping ahead here. So yeah. I thought that was great. That really was awesome, was that we got to see that, because from the beginning, and thank goodness, kind of on the note what Javier was just asking about, thank goodness, because our only common thread besides Jean-Luc throughout all 3 seasons of Picard has been Rafi. And, you know, big part of her story arc was that she's troubled. She's got all these issues. She was estranged from her family, much to her dismay and heartbreak and everything. And yeah, we find out that her family is now aware of what she's been doing, aware of what a hero she is. Again, thanks to Worf. Hint, hint.
Like, I wonder who leaked all that.
Yeah, who all of a sudden made all the channels, you know, start broadcasting that and everything. Yeah, and everything. And that was really nice. And Worf kind of says some really nice, heartfelt mentor to student kind of words and everything, and actually hugs her because that's...
Worf hugs.
Right. That's right. Exactly. That's not something Worf does. No. And that's pretty much the end of the Rafi and Worf story, which
wraps that up perfectly.
Perfect. And I loved that. I have no complaints about that. I thought that was great. And then, so then getting back to things, then they start talking about the after effects, like what all happens after all of this. We come to find out that everybody that had been assimilated, that wasn't killed, you know, the ones that were alive and stuff, it turns out that they were able to be saved. They were able to do Beverly
came up with a way to remove the Borg DNA from them using the transporters,
as well as
finding ways to screen for things like changelings.
Yeah, because these new changelings you couldn't screen for, and now they can, and they show them like finding one,
like nope,
and grabbing him and being like,
you're not
nope.
going in here, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. Like an underage kid trying to sneak into a bar or something like that, grabbing him like, get out of here. Yeah,
we don't want your kind in here.
I thought that scene was kind of funny, you know, in a way. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But yeah, so Beverly, because she had been the one that was sussing all that out in the earlier episodes.
Admiral Beverly.
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
Heading all that.
Admiral
the medical
Crusher. Yep.
So that was nice. Nice little ending for her.
Yeah, so they were able to do that. And then when they're talking about it, they also revealed that with that's certain people that you might have thought were gone are actually still alive. One of them being Tuvok. We got to see the real Tuvok, and he's sitting down with Seven, with his old friend Seven, and he's kind of seems like he's sort of giving her the
he's like the Enterprise D crew got a full pardon,
but
for everything, but you on the other end,
you did this, you did that, you know, there was a lot of things you did that were
not kosher, not cool, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And Seven starts talking about how, like, you know what, like,
I'm gonna save you time.
Yeah, I'm just gonna save you time because I've figured it out. Like, I can't follow rules. Starfleet isn't for me, so I'm going to resign from this. And he says, well, we got this message, this thing shortly before all hell broke loose, and I want you to hear it. And she's like, oh God, great. So she ends up sitting there and seeing that it is a message from none other than her former commanding officer, Captain Shaw.
Fucking Shaw.
And she's just like, oh God.
I'm so screwed.
I'm so screwed.
Why are you going to make me sit through this? I already resigned.
That guy hated me. And he's talking about her and everything. And he's saying, otherwise he uses her dead name at first. And then he says, otherwise 7 of 9. And he's being very Shaw about it. He's like sitting there, like shaking his.
She does this, she does that. She doesn't follow this.
She doesn't follow orders, and she's stubborn, and she's this and that, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, but she's extremely courageous, and she's loyal, and she's a leader, and she's like all these great things. And he says, so my recommendation is that when we are done, she gets back, she be promoted to captain. And
fucking Shaw. I love him.
Yeah, so we got one last thing of Shaw. Thank goodness. Yes. Because fuck you for killing Shaw because that was our favorite character
I want more Shaw
on the show, and we were so hopeful we would get more of Shaw. I've got a thought about that too later, but we'll save that.
Okay.
That we may get that. We'll see. But anyway, so it turns out that so Tuvok says your request for leaving has been denied, Captain. So they end up making her captain of hang on, I know I got it here. There it is. I knew I had a picture of all of them. They end up making her captain of a ship. What ship is it? Is she going to be captain of the Titan?
Kind of, sort of, but not really.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, but not really is a way of putting it. So we come to find out that Jack is going to be put onto a ship.
Yep, he's officially joined Starfleet now, and he's got his first assignment. He's pacing back and forth, all nervous, like a little boy.
Yeah, exactly. And Beverly and his parents are there, kind of trying to reassure him and everything. And they hadn't told Jean-Luc where Jack was being stationed on, what he was being assigned to and everything. And as they're pulling up, he says, "Oh, of course it's the Titan, like that fits and everything." And they're like, "Well, not quite, because it turns out that they have rechristened the Titan as the Enterprise 1701G."
Yes.
It was awesome. So that they did that as a little, like, in tribute for everything they did and everything that Picard did and all that stuff. Of course, Picard's very moved by this, and how fitting that his son would be on that ship now. And we get to see that on this new ship that he will be a counselor. He's kind of going to be like the
Troy.
Sort of, on the ship. Jack is going to be. Seven is the captain. Rafi is her number one. Sydney is going to be flying it and everything, and a bunch of the other ancillary characters that we got to know.
I'm here for it.
And the that ship doctor and all that, like, awesome. That is the best news of the whole season. That to me is the best news of the whole season. And
Please be a setup for a new series.
Please be a setup for a new series.
Please.
Because that I will watch. I love the idea of how they've grown Seven's character over the past 3 seasons. And she, more than anybody, I think, really benefited from this series.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because it's great seeing all our next-gen characters. It's great seeing them. It's great.
It was a nice little close for them and an opening for Seven.
Right. I feel like they took who I feel is the best, or one of the best characters of Voyager for sure, but one of the best characters of Trek, was 7 of 9, always interesting, well acted, well written, all that stuff. And now they've given her something that this feels good. Like, I love this. This feels really good. So I'm really excited about what the possibilities are for this. So that they kind of leave us with that. And then now 7 of 9, exactly. And so now we go forward a little bit. We find out that the Enterprise D is being put back into the museum and everything. We've got Riker and Picard and Geordi sort of
shutting it down, reminiscing,
doing a very poignant little, like, reminiscing scene about shutting it down. And we end up with all of our friends over at, they're in Guinan's bar.
Almost,
they're in Guinan's bar.
For one last time, they said.
For one last time, yeah.
She's giving him the side eye.
Yeah, because they keep taking the drinks from behind the bar and everything. Guinan's side-eyeing us and everything. And they're all hanging out and drinking and sharing a moment and everything and talking about Beverly's yelling for them, put some music on and everything. And then the others are, Worf's like, I got to go to bed. And Deanna, and I liked the whole thing where Deanna and Will are talking about trying to decide where to go for their finally having a vacation. And it's some like exotic planet somewhere or Orlando.
Yeah. Orlando.
And Geordi's like, ooh, tough choice. Like that's really cool. And then Picard turns around and starts telling him like, okay, we can, basically says like, yeah, we can break it up, but first, and he pulls out an Ace of Spades card and says, we got to play poker.
Yes. That's like the ending I didn't know I needed. That's perfect ending for this crew.
Right.
I loved it.
And so that's the end.
Or is it?
Well, yeah, it's the basic end of it. It's the end for the Next Gen crew and everything, as we get to see them all sitting around a table just playing poker. We get to hear their banter and see Jean-Luc is beating the pants off of them again, and they're just like, ah, damn it, man. Like,
Worf's like, I fold, I'm out.
And we get to see that they're still them,
Yep.
And that's it for that.
Great.
Then, in something. This is more of a Star Wars or especially a Marvel kind of thing.
Yeah.
We get an after credit scene because we see that Jack is in his quarters on the new Enterprise G. And he gets a visit from somebody. And who does he get visited by? It is none other than
motherfucking Q.
Q is back.
What?
Wait, what? Okay, so Q is there. He even... And for a lot of us, me especially, it's like, wait a minute, Q died. The whole crux of, spoiler alert, the whole crux of the end of season 2 was that Q was dying and he died. And it was very poignant. And they did this amazing send-off to that character. And now all of a sudden, he's back. And they...
Because you got to stop thinking linear when it comes to Q.
Right. Because much like a character like Doctor Who... Q doesn't exist linearly in terms of time. You might have gone 20 years ago and watched him die, but you may still see him 20 years later.
Right. Because
he's not living in the same kind of linear timeline like the rest, like humans are and stuff. Okay, fine. I guess we can do that. The problem is...
Borg Q.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, don't we have anything else we could possibly do?
Yeah, exactly. Out of 7,
I love Q.
7, Q's great.
Come
but
on.
Out of 7 seasons that we got of Next Gen, plus how many movies, apparently to people nowadays, there are 2 enemies. There's the Borg and there's Q. That's it. Just Borg and Q. That's all we got. We just keep going back to it. Something's going on. Oh, it's Borg. It's just Borg. It's not Ferengi. It's not, it's not anything. It's not that slime monster that killed Tashiar. No, it's none of that. It's none of that shit. It's just the Borg. And that leads me to, now that we're done talking about recapping the
That was still a pretty long recap.
Yeah, it was. Well, there was a lot to talk about.
There was. Okay.
But now that...
Let's talk about the season. So we got a couple questions. Javier gave us a couple good ones in here.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to be touching on them.
Yeah.
Because he wants to know about Picard's love interest. And do they having him back together? What's going on with that?
Well, that and talking about my issues with this episode and kind of with this season. Yeah, there's a lot of things that I feel like you made this 10 hours long. This was 10 hours essentially because 10 one-hour episodes.
Right.
And in 10 hours, you didn't say a whole lot. You didn't accomplish a whole lot. Like they tied up certain things, and then they left a lot of other things just really open-ended. I feel like there was far too much use of like misdirection and red herrings and stuff. Like I feel like there was too much of that. We spent almost all of the season being invested in this changeling thing, only to find out that, that really wasn't that big of a deal. Like, I mean, it was, but it really didn't matter. It was just so, I don't know. They could have tied that together so much better. I as far as like Picard's love interest, like Maris, like they should have done something
At
like
least
that.
brought her back, have a mention. It's like, yep, I got to go meet Maris now. This has been fun, but I really should meet Maris.
Even
if at first, deck of cards.
Yeah,
something like that. That's all we needed.
Something like that, or when there was like the voiceovers going on, talking about various things. If there would have been just one scene while he was voiceovering, showing him like that he had some sort of view screen moment, calling Maris and like showing this shit. But because that's the thing. It's like I don't think it's supposed to indicate that Bev and Picard are back together.
No, I didn't get that.
I think it's more just like co-parenting, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
they're friends.
They're friends, and this is their child, and they were there. But I can see why people would be confused by that. Totally.
Yeah, why even have her in the beginning if you're not going to bring her back? Why do we even have that?
Right. Exactly. Like, why did we start that? Like, we didn't tie that up. The changeling thing felt very loosey-goosey. The thing I was talking about through all these episodes is that I felt like the way they wrote Beverly in this season was really weird. Mm-hmm. And I kept thinking, as anybody who, if you watched or listened to us in the past recaps, I kept thinking, oh, there's something up with Beverly. There's something shady about Beverly, blah, 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 blah. And well, it didn't turn out to be that. It didn't turn out. And
Picard in this episode telling her, I was like, you know what? You did nothing wrong. I was like, the fuck she didn't.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
I feel like there was too much change and out of character things they did with Beverly that they didn't really, if it turns out, which it did, it turns out that there wasn't anything weird. She wasn't a changeling. She wasn't assimilated. She wasn't some specter or something. You know what I mean? She was just Beverly.
She didn't know anything was going on with Jack. I mean,
like there was too much. Yeah, exactly. There was so much more they could have and should have done then with that character to explain more. And they just left it really, I don't know. Yeah. That just felt real loose to me. And
her whole last 25 years, I think whatever she said is weak.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, her being a badass, I can get behind that. But all the other decisions, that's weak.
Yeah, I didn't buy it all. Even the badass thing. And like, yeah, when she started like getting all aggressive in this last episode on the bridge and they look at her and she's like 25 years changes a person. And I think that was their way of trying to explain all of that. Just like they did with Q, saying like, well, you people think too linearly. That's why I'm still alive. That I can even buy, the Q thing. I'm like, all right, I get the science and the idea behind that. But the Beverly thing of explaining all her bullshit and weirdness and just like out of character shit by explaining that is just saying, well, 25 years changes a person. I'm like, oh, that's cheap, man. I feel like that's cheap. There could have been so much more. There could have been stuff that they explained. Like she could have really thoroughly explained that, like, look, since then, I've seen and experienced so many things and so many horrors out there in space and so many things that I had to deal with that I never even dealt with when I was part of Starfleet and everything. Like, there's so many things I dealt with. It really changed me. Like, there could have been more going on there that might have explained a little better. But I think they wanted us to think there was something weird with her.
Oh, yeah, it was one of the hearings.
Yeah, they wanted us to think there was something weird with her. And so they did that. And in the end, it was just like, no, Bev's just kind of, and I just have a problem with that. I'm like, they could have done that differently, man, But anyway, so... Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to unwrap with this. I thought season 3 was great. I thought it was the most action-packed. Of course, as old school fans, getting to see Next Gen again, getting to see all these characters was wonderful. I thought the way a lot of the dialogue, I thought a lot of the things that happened was great. Overall, I enjoyed it. I'm glad the season exists. However, getting back to things that were brought up in the comments earlier and everything, I'm sorry that it was at the expense of the first 2 seasons and the things they set up. Mm-hmm. I feel sorry that the characters, other than Rafi, that the characters and the stories and the things that happened there were just poof. They were just either let go or in some ways almost like rewritten, because what about Girardi as the new Borg
especially
Queen?
season 2. I mean, in season 1, they at least touched on some things that happened in it, but season 2 is like never even existed. I was really hoping Girardi would come back and be part of saving the day.
That would have been
That would have been fucking cool.
That would have made sense.
Yeah.
That would have made sense. They made the Borg and the changing of the Borg and the whole Borg threat. They made that such a thing in season 2.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a whole season of the fucking Borg Queen in season 2. So then their answer is, what are we going to do for season 3? Well, we're just going to do the Borg and the Borg Queen again. It's like, come on, man. There wasn't some other threat, some other thing that they could have came up with? Or even when they were talking about, oh, it's an ancient thing, I was like, maybe this is going to be some even like pre-Borg kind of thing, some like really ancient, like the Cthulhu of Borg, you know what I mean? Like I thought maybe they were going to make it some really ancient, a reawakening of something that, even if it was tied into Borg, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it was some kind of thing that was going to tie in these different species like Borg and changelings and stuff like that and have it be that. But this was just the fucking Borg again. It was just the Borg Queen and Borg again and Locutus and all. I'm like, oh man, really? Really? And I think thank goodness for them that they made this season as good as they did, and that everybody was as good in it as they were, and that there was so many good points and stuff. Because had this season not been as good as it was, and we would have got stuck with that ending, oh, this would have been a fucking disaster.
Yeah.
Pardon my French, but this would have been a fucking disaster. Because that ending, I'm sorry, there are very few people I think out there that aren't even just a little bit disappointed that that's what this all built up to.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people's reaction was like, oh, we're doing the Borg again. And I was too a little bit. I'm not quite as livid about it as you are.
Right.
I would have liked, it's like, okay, we have the Borg. I would have liked 5 more episodes building up the threat of the Borg.
Sure.
Instead of us just going and destroying them in the next episode.
Right.
So
we didn't even find out it was Borg until somewhere in the middle of the 9th episode. And then in the 10th, it was the first time we really come face to face with them, barely. And then that's it. And it really wasn't that hard, you know? Like, it wasn't like, I mean, yeah, we talk about those exciting scenes with all the assimilated ships, turning on, it was getting down to the second. Like, that's cool. But I don't know. Yeah, I really wish we would have found out more about this. And like I said, I wish they could have just done more with it than just like, well, it's the old Borg Queen. It's like, oh, man. Yeah, Borg Con. Javier says
Javier's full of them tonight, man. He's talking about Jack Skellington, and
right.
he's on it tonight, man.
Something's wrong with Jack. Something's wrong with Jack. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I thought, like, the evolution part of the Borg thing, I thought that was a cool, clever
that's
twist.
A great idea. But
I thought her having to devour the Borg, existing Borg that she had on the Borg, I thought that was cool, just to try to stay alive, and she needed the changelings to do what she needed to do. But why didn't she have some of the changelings on the Borg with her to help? I don't know.
Well, how cool.
I mean, I know she basically invited Picard on there. She wanted him to be there to watch the destruction. But that was awfully bold of her, since she couldn't even fucking move.
And that's what I'm
saying. And she was defenseless?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they just made it, and they made it such a, halfway through or almost halfway through the last episode we get to all this. It's like, how cool would it have been a few episodes ago if they would have found a Borg cube or something and found all those, like, decrepit, used up Borg there. And if they would have been like, oh my God, it's the Borg, and then be like, wait a minute, what's going on with these Borg? Why are they like this and all that? To kind of give you a hint and be like, oh, there's something up with that, and like just give us more lead up. Because like I said, we got 8 fucking episodes of another story, of essentially another story. And then somewhere in the 9th episode, they opened the red door and, oh no, this is the actual story. And like I said, I can't help but be disappointed, because when we started the 3rd season 10 weeks ago, the first and main thing I said, and you backed me up, we've loved Picard. We overall, we really enjoyed season 1. We really enjoyed season 2. But we had our complaints, and one of our main complaints was,
Preach it, Larry.
was that one of our main complaints was that I really hope they don't do what they've done with the other seasons and give us all these episodes of other stuff, of subterfuge, and then at the very end they give us they cram it all in, you know, because they especially did that in season 1, and they did that kind of with season 2 as well, and it was just unsatisfying. It was led us to be like, whoa, wait a minute. So what about this, and what's this, and we didn't get enough exposition on this, and all this kind of stuff. And that's what they did with the other 2 seasons, and they did the same fucking thing with this season.
Did it again.
Why do it that way? Hollywood, stop with that fucking device, man. Because, like I said, you got real lucky. You people got real lucky at Paramount that this overall show, that you had the cast you did, that you added in enough good stuff there to make it awesome and worthwhile. Because this device of doing that, of 8 episodes of blah, 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 and then, okay, hurry up and cram it all in at the end, people hate that.
Especially us. Yeah,
and especially people that are into stuff like Trek. That ain't how we roll. You know what I mean? Like, we want more build up and clues and things like that. Yeah. So that's my biggest complaint about it, is that they crammed everything. Yeah, 13 episodes would have been more than enough. Yeah, either 13 episodes, or if they're going to tell this story, they could have cut this down to 6 or 7. You know what I mean? Because they dragged out the changeling shit for so long. And it ended up being fucking pointless, most of it, you know? Yeah, Javier said 13 episodes is a basic package for any new series. He's got a point.
Yeah.
Man. He's got a really good point. You know, and they could...
just a couple more episodes to build up this Borg would have been awesome.
Right.
It would have fixed the issues.
Right.
Hopefully wrapped up some of our other complaints.
Yeah. I mean, even at the very end when they were doing the voiceover and they were explaining about how Beverly developed the new technology to remove the Borg stuff and to suss out anybody that might be one of these new changelings. When they mentioned that, like when they showed the thing about the changelings, I actually for a moment went, oh, yeah, the changelings. Yeah. That's a problem.
Yeah, I was excited. I was like, oh, finally, we got the changelings back.
I forgot about them.
Yeah.
And that's, you know
still
what I mean?
There.
That's
still
not, yeah, and that's not cool. Like, there should have been more involved with that. And, you know, they led us to all this buildup with the changelings, and then they just killed Vadic, dropped it. And then from the Red Door on, it became all about the Borg and Jack. Yeah, so that kind of stuff sucks. But, again, overall, I did enjoy this season a lot. It was a fun ride. If I had to rate it, I would give this season a B.
A B, okay.
Yeah, a B. Certain episodes were definitely more like B plus. You know,
oh yeah,
certain episodes.
Some of them were the A's.
Yeah,
a couple of them.
Yeah, especially those ones that were like 4, 5, 6, right in the middle there. Those were so enjoyable. Some of the best Trek I'd seen in years. So those I would give probably A's. Yeah, I would give those A's. But because of some of this other stuff and because of the letdown of how they did the ending, for me this would be a B. What about you?
I think a B. I was thinking like an 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
I really, really enjoyed this season. I'm with Javier, where it was the best of the 3.
Yeah.
Definitely the best of the 3. I've enjoyed all of them. Some have their own faults and everything, but I really, really enjoyed this season overall.
Yeah.
I loved last thing, Majel Barrett.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I forgot to mention her last week, so that was great to have her come back as the computer.
As the computer voice.
Will saying, I miss that voice.
Yeah, they threw that in at the end here.
That was really nice.
As they're walking off the Enterprise D and hearing her voice, and him saying, I miss that voice. I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that was so cool and so cute for them to do that as a little tribute to her. You know, because she's the original, man. She's... You know, well, she's Majel Barrett Roddenberry, you know, and everything. But and I love the fact that he would say that, like, I miss that voice because it was Majel Barrett. And who was Majel Barrett when she was on Star Trek before she was Loexana Troy? Who was she in the original The Cage pilot? Number one.
Oh yeah, she was number one.
She was
before she was Nurse Chapel.
Before she was Chapel, before Mama Troy, before all that, before the computer voice, all that, she was number one. So it was cool to hear number one say
I missed that voice.
Yeah, I missed that voice about the original number one. Yeah, because for those that don't know at home, The Cage and Menagerie, which they used later for the TOS, Menagerie is my favorite Star Trek of all time. All time. The Menagerie 2-part episode, that is hands down when we got to see the original Pike, which now they've spun that into its own series with Strange New Worlds and all that stuff and everything, which we've got to watch. Yeah, we got to really delve into and everything. I've just been waiting because, like I said, those characters, number one and the original Spock and Captain Pike, that's my favorite Star Trek. I've strong feelings. So that was really cool hearing her. And the only, like I said, kind of just one last thing, just to expand on an idea and a point I was making a minute ago, was I'm just bummed because for as much as I know a lot of people dismissed Picard season 1 and 2, there's a lot of people that are like, I don't care for it. I am a fan of it, and there are a lot of people. Don't let the internet fool you, because there's a lot of people in the dissenting voices, the negative voices are always the ones that are heard the loudest. But you and I went to the conventions. We went to the Trek convention a year or two ago and everything. We've been to C2E2 and we met Issa Briones and Evan, and we met some of the cast from season 1 and 2 and everything. And we met a lot of the other fans there, and people were really enjoying those first 2 seasons for their flaws, and especially some of those characters. You know, Evan's character was great. What's his face? That the one that stayed in the past in season 2 and everything. Yeah, you know, those characters were great, and I just wish in this final season, maybe towards the end, I wish there could have been some sort of tribute to those characters, even if they would have mentioned something about them at some point, just to tie all of it up. If this is the end of Picard as a show, you know, not just the season, but as a show. If it's I wish there would have been some tie up with all of that, even maybe mentioning the Jurati thing, mentioning what's his name, in the past, you know. Rios, and like showing some kind of thing, you know, because he had to have some sort of legacy that he left, you know, and everything. And it would have been really awesome if there would have been some tie-in. Speaking of legacy, like I said, everybody's talking about the possibility of
Javier was just saying, hopefully that means a new show, and they're talking maybe Star Trek Legacy will be the new show. So hopefully this whole season was a setup for that. That would be killer.
That would be killer. And then getting back to what I brought up earlier about Shaw, is I was you know, there's nothing that says there can't be some way they write it in. I mean, we have holodecks and all these kind of things. It's like, wouldn't it be cool if they brought Todd Stashwick back to play Shaw, if he was like a virtual character, like
kind of like the Doctor in Voyager,
right? Yeah, like something like that. Like if something like where like maybe occasionally like Seven went onto like the holodeck to like talk because she's a new captain, and she goes and talks to Shaw. And if he's still kind of Shaw, like if he's still sort of like surly, but he's like, because Shaw always gave good fucking advice. You know what I mean? Like he was always very astute. He was a dick. But he was smart. Just like they showed with his last scene there, where it was like he was a dick, and you know, 7 of 9, blah, 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 blah. But then he was like, but he wasn't stupid. Shaw was never stupid. He was extremely smart, and he was smart enough to realize that outside of his PTSD and his prejudices against her because of Borg and everything, he saw the value in her and everything. And so, like, wouldn't it be cool if, even if he wasn't on all the time, but if they just brought him back like a couple of times to just to play Shaw, to like maybe have some sort of like back and forth. You come to find out she goes and like talks to like a program of him or something. Like, I'm like, that would be awesome, because I would love to see that character brought in and have more of her reacting to him, and, you know, him just kind of being his surly self and everything. It's probably not going to happen, but it's fun to think about.
Yeah.
And yeah, Javier lastly says, by the way, they never closed off the Wesley Crusher ending. Well, I saw that was what some people were saying online, is they were kind of bummed when they chose to have Q be the one that shows up and talks to Jack at the very, very end in the post-credits scene. A lot of people were like, man, how cool would it have been if it would have been Wesley as one of the interstellar whatever being traveler things like he did. They probably figured that was going to be too much like how they did the end of season 2.
Possibly, but if we got a new show with Legacy, maybe Wesley can come and help him take care of Q.
That's true.
A few times. Like, give him some advice.
There could be room for that.
And then maybe Wesley can send Beverly a freaking postcard or something so she stops whining about losing them to the stars.
Right.
Do something, Wesley. Come on. You can't just disappear.
Right. Because the other thing is if they do this like legacy offshoot show and everything, then that could also potentially open up this with it being 7 and with having Tuvok introduced there as like her commander, you know, and everything. We have room for other Voyager characters to be featured and everything. So that's exciting. Yeah.
A lot of good avenues they could be going and still use old characters and make it new and fun and exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been great. I'm sorry to see Picard end because
I was enjoying the ride.
Yeah. And I mean, this is the only show where we've well, outside of some we're going to bring up, but it's the only show where we've like pretty thoroughly followed and talked about on this show.
Yeah,
you know,
every step of the way.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for years now, literally. You know, several years and everything.
It's over.
It's now over. So hopefully we'll have the new one. We can always move on to the other Trek ones if we want to get into it. Maybe at some point we'll do something about Strange New Worlds or something like that. We could do that. But everybody, thank you so much for watching and listening.
And joining us in the chat. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it was great seeing you guys in the chat. And if you didn't join us and you're watching or listening to this later after this is no longer live and it's archived, feel free to leave messages. You can leave a comment below, or you can join us on Facebook in the Geeking Squad group, free and open to join as long as you're not a dillhole. And it's true. You know, we just talk geek in there. You know, that's it. And, you know, we'd like to know what you think. So for right now, this is it for a while for Star Trek. So we are at the end of April. As of right now, today is what, April 20th? So in 10 days, it's going to be May. It's going to be May. So what does May mean?
May means May the 4th be with you.
Yeah, it sure
Revenge
does.
of the 5th. Revenge
of the 5th. And May is, as anybody knows, May is a Star Wars month.
It is.
And May also happens to be our 5th year anniversary.
It sure is.
Of this show. We started putting stuff out back around May. Right around late April, early May and stuff. We came out. This show's been around for 5 years. And one thing, I mean, we've talked about Star Wars intermittently, you know, it's been mentioned here and there, but for all the things we've done, tons of Marvel, tons of Star Trek, tons of other things, we really haven't done, I don't think we have one Star Wars themed show other than
I think we done a trivia torture and that's it.
Yeah, we did a trivia torture
I did not do good on.
We did, and we reviewed some of the movies like when they came out, like we did Solo and Rise of Skywalker and stuff like that, but we've never done like a thorough Star Wars thing. So we're announcing it here now for the month of May, and we're announcing it so that we have to do it.
Can't back out now.
We can't back out. We are going to probably every week or close to every week. We're going to try. You know, we'll see what happens. Things happen sometimes, but
we're going to do it every week.
We're going to do
something
a bunch of May is going to be all pretty much Star Wars content. We might do another trivia thing. I've got some toyetic stuff because do you think I got any Star Wars toys? Couple?
Do you?
Couple, 2, 3.
Where are you hiding them?
They're everywhere. So I was going to do some Geeking Toyetic Star Wars content. We were talking about some top 5s. It's been a while since we've done top 5. So we're going to do all kinds of Star Wars stuff. So
get Matt back in here.
Yeah, we're going to get his silly ass back in here to talk Star Wars because he's a fan. And everything. And so if you're a Star Wars fan or you're like, how come these guys haven't talked about this or that or whatever?
Now's your time.
That's what we're going to do this coming month. Yeah, May is going to be 5-year Geeking Poetic Podcast.
You guys have stuck with us. Thank you, guys.
Yes, exactly. And we're going to reward you with all kinds of Star Wars talk. But watched Fanboys the other night. That to cover both. Yeah, Fanboys is a good movie. You never saw that, did you?
No.
Oh, we'll have to talk about that when we get to next month. But anyway, everybody. So it's your last time for a while, at least. You have to give them the Vulcan salute.
All right, Vulcan
the
salute.
Vulcan farewell. Give them like the.
Maybe cry. Shaw's video. Oh. I can't.
You can't do it.
This is not going well.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Make it stop.
Oh boy. All right, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks for everything.
Bye, guys.
Bye.